Good evening. Welcome to Hungarian Public Media's News in English, Hungary Reports. I'm Hajnalka Tóth, bringing you today's news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Let's jump right into it. The Hungarian economy's performance has exceeded expectations in the second quarter. It grew by 5.1% compared to the same period a year earlier, making it the most dynamic in the whole European Union. According to the Minister of Finance, its momentum could stick around for the second half of the year as well.
Household consumption and investments in every sector of the economy were the main driving force of GDP in the second quarter of the year. It was mainly tourism, but also the construction industry and industrial production that contributed most to the economic growth of the country, although the performance of the two latter industries slowed compared to the first quarter of 2019. As a result, after the exceptionally high performance in the first quarter, the Hungarian economy expanded significantly in the second quarter as well. The growth rate has exceeded the expectations of the Minister of Finance, Mihály Varga said. The Minister of Finance added that good performance required government measures that kept and still keep the Hungarian economy running despite the deteriorating external environment. Among other things, Mihály Varga highlighted a 6-year wage agreement, a package called the Program for Competitive Hungary, as well as home subsidies and government investments. This growth figure should be respected and is particularly good because, unlike the early 2000s, there is no debt behind the increase. So it's not a one-time spending. The Hungarian economy was able to achieve such high growth while also reducing the level of debt, the finance minister said. Mihály Varga also said that the Hungarian economy will continue to perform well in the second half of the year and will not lose momentum in 2019 either.
One of the girls from the recently separated Bangladeshi Siamese twins is in critical condition. The 3-year-old girls were separated 2 weeks ago by a team of Hungarian doctors. 5 days after the operation, one of them regained consciousness, was able to move, and spoke in complete sentences. Her sister, however, is still under anesthesia, and though she can breathe on her own, machines still guide her. She caught a virus and has her fever spiked recently, so she is in critical condition. The search for the last missing South Korean victim of the Híradó or Mermaid boat accident is still ongoing. The pleasure boat sank in Budapest on May 29th by the foot of Margaret Bridge after the Viking Sigit hotel boat crashed into it. There were 35 people on board the Mermaid, 33 South Korean tourists and 2 Hungarian crew members. 7 Koreans were rescued and 27 casualties have since been found.
All of the police boats are still searching non-stop for the last missing South Korean victim of the Mermaid boat accident on the Danube. They scan the waters using special instruments and even use search dogs. They haven't suspended the search for seconds since the accident, and they've also combed through the floodplains. They started the search of the Gemens forest and the area on Wednesday. Civil patrol guards and hunters also helped the police officers. The South Korean military attaché visited the site and thanked everyone participating in the search. He also asked them not to give up just yet.
On behalf of the Korean government,
the Hungarian officials are determined in looking for the victim, which we highly appreciate. A lot of time has passed, but it's very important in our culture to find a body. We feel that we have to search until it's found, he said. The tragic accident happened 10 weeks ago, on the 29th of May. But details about it are still brought to light continuously. According to the witnesses' testimonies, traveling at a speed of 12 kilometers per hour, the hotel boat crashed into the tourist boat that was going much more slowly. Video footage shows that the Viking's Ukrainian captain was behind the steering wheel, but had previously turned the alarm signaling instruments off. He is currently the only suspect in the case. The Ukrainian captain is currently in prison after having been arrested for the second time 2 weeks ago.
The Hungarian Interchurch Aid has launched a nationwide donation drive. They kicked off their yearly back-to-school fundraiser for the 8th time in order to help 1,000 children living in difficult conditions start school.
8-year-old Vicky dreams of becoming a fashion designer, so whenever she can, she draws clothes. She begins her second year at school in September. Her grandparents are raising her in Sigit Szent Miklós, but they cannot afford the necessary school supplies, therefore they ask the Hungarian Interchurch Aid for help. The aid organization announced the back-to-school fundraiser for the 8th time this year to help students in need with individually tailored packs of quality school supplies worth more than 30 euros per child. As the nations arrive, we keep going through the list we have put together this summer. We know what the kids are missing, we know what to buy, the communications director said. The president and CEO of the Hungarian Interchurch Aid said that their goal was to provide children with the packages before the school bell rings for the first time on the 2nd of September. László Lehel added that they would like to help the poorest families this year as well, so that starting school isn't about indebtedness, but about catching up for them. Anyone can contribute any amount to the Hungarian Interchurch Aid's back-to-school fundraiser at iskolakezdesegyütt.hu. There is also a donation hotline that is available non-stop. By dialing 1353, callers support needy students with almost €1. In addition to 1,000 Hungarian students in need, the amount received will be also used to support hundreds of ethnic Hungarian children beyond our borders to start a new school year.
Recovery is still ongoing in many places in Hungary after the storm on Tuesday. It left the greatest destruction in Borsod County, where it hailed. It caused structural damage in 80% of the roofs in some towns. Damages could cost tens of thousands of euros.
This is the yard of a house in Andornaktája in Heves County after the storm hit at dawn. The sudden and strong gusts of wind completely toppled the chimney. Fallen roof tiles and broken bricks covered the yard. And this is seen in Borsod Zemplén County. The storm hit the hardest in this area earlier on Tuesday night. The tennis ball-sized pieces of hail broke the windshields of several cars. Our house is completely soaked. Everything is wet. My parents' room is dripping wet, and it also took off the awning structures. We had a slate roof, but it's completely gone, just like the neighbors, this local said. Locals help the firefighters with the restoration as much as they can. The power lines in the kitchen are soaked. We have no idea what will happen, so we are still cold and tired, she said. Szödliget was also hit by the storm. Híradó, just over 10 kilometers away, looks like a disaster-stricken area just one day after the hail. The roof tiles of many houses were torn down by the storm. The hail destroyed many things that got in its way. Caritas Hungary walked around the sites and began preparing for the damage assessment so that the necessary recovery works could begin as soon as possible.
Sigit Festival has ended. The American rock band, the Foo Fighters, closed the event Tuesday night. The one-week festival had somewhat fewer visitors than last year's record-breaking number, but they still had more than 500,000 festival-goers. The superstars like Ed Sheeran and the historic drug bust made this year's Sigit memorable. Organizers said that they're proud that their own security services uncovered the Dutch dealers. They thanked people who live in the area for their patience, and meanwhile the 3rd District is still evaluating whether they surpassed the legal noise limits. Organizers say that the festival wasn't louder than usual.
Sigit Festival was no louder than in previous years, and I dare to say that this one week is worth that little bit of noise, because about 100,000 foreign tourists arrive in Budapest, most of them not just for one day, to visit the festival during the week. So I think that we were able to organize Hungary's biggest tourist event in the past week, and we can be proud of that.
Carnival Week has kicked off in Debrecen, and as a part of it, so has an exhibit titled The Blessed Mother. The display features the work of 55 contemporary Hungarian artists and how they see the relationship between the Virgin Mary and Hungarians. They're paying their tributes to Saint Stephen with their work because during his reign, he offered up the country to the Virgin Mary. The Blessed Mother exhibit is open until September 11th at the Kölcsei Center in Debrecen. A photography exhibit titled Aleppo, War, Rebirth opened on Wednesday at the House of Dialogue in Budapest. The exhibit showcases the aid work of the Hungarian Charity Service of the Order of Malta and the horrors of the Syrian civil war. It shows how bustling Aleppo turned into a ghost town and how survivors tried to restart their lives in the ruins. The exhibit is open until September 8th. That's all for today. Catch the English news every day around 11:20 p.m. local time or stream it anytime online. Coming right up are M1's other foreign language news broadcasts. Thanks for watching. Good night.